Hi, I'm Samantha Jouin, and I am running for re-election to the Great Valley School Board, Region 1.
First, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to talk to you about your candidacy for school board director. So, everyone has a story, and that story is exciting and personal. It's what drives us and explains our why. What about being a school board director is exciting or inspiring to you?
So I have been on the Great Valley School Board for almost 4 years now, and I love helping my community by ensuring that the kids in the community get a great education. I moved here for great schools. My kids benefited from those great schools, and when my kids were near the end of being in Great Valley, I just felt it was time for me to give back and make sure that we could keep that going for other children. So I'm inspired by what the schools have done for me, for my family, what they're doing for the community, and I actually really love just living in a community where people care so much about our schools. Even if people don't have kids in schools, it's something that is near and dear to the hearts of everyone here, and what a great place to be to help them realize those dreams.
That's awesome. So I have to say, what resonated with me was when you spoke about giving back, right? So you give back to your community. And I think really that is what that's really what community is about. So let's fast forward and imagine that you are on the school board or that you continue to stay on the school board. What are your top three priorities that you want to accomplish in this upcoming term?
So here in Great Valley, we have a growing population. Anybody driving by can see all of the construction. We have a great school district. It's desirable. People want to live here. But that also poses challenges for our school district. How do we ensure that we keep this wonderful level of education and offerings that we have for our kids and for our community as we grow? So number one priority for me is making sure that we are ready for the population growth and that the kids coming in get as great an education as the kids who are already here. We need to plan for that. That's one. Second would be to make sure that we are meeting the needs of all of our students, and that's from many different perspectives. So you've got the curriculum perspective, which is what people imagine school is about. It is, right? But also there's the need for kids to feel like they belong. So there's the second perspective of, are we meeting everyone's needs from a belonging perspective? And another way is also to look at the diversity perspective. We have a growing population, and it's a diverse growing population, which is wonderful for everyone who lives here. How do we ensure that way we're also ensuring the needs, in that way we're ensuring the needs of all of the kids in the population? So I would say it's those three sort of ways of ensuring that everybody everyone's needs are met. So that's the first two. One more I would say would be that maybe more particular to me would be I feel very strongly about having great programs in the arts, music, foreign languages. I believe these are really important components in helping children achieve in school, enriching their development as productive and well-rounded future citizens. It's something that sometimes gets put by the wayside, and as a board member, I'm always asking those questions about those programs, what's happening, what's the enrollment, are we hiring, and I'll continue to be that voice for those important programs.
I love that. Always let your voice be heard. So, a couple of things that I heard in your answer resonated with me because I actually am a study skills teacher, right? And so I do that whole piece of executive functioning for middle school kids. So I love the fact that you want to plan, right? You have a plan, you work your plan. Everything doesn't go according to plan, but because you've planned and prioritized, you are able to be flexible. I actually am also a strategies teacher where I talk about flexibility and social and emotional learning. So I feel like your priorities hit all of those points, right? So you've got the curriculum, which is the bedrock of a great school. But that curriculum, but then that sense of belonging, making sure that everyone feels like they belong, and that mental health piece that goes with it. One thing that also stands out in your answer is that you understand that there are different perspectives, and everyone has them and has their own perspective. So What I'd like to know is about your strengths. What strengths do you bring to the table that will allow the community to benefit? And when I say the community, I mean all voices in the community.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, for sure. Because you can have strengths in one area that help some people, but maybe not strengths that speak to another part of the community. So I think my strengths are broad enough that they're really going to help me achieve those goals that we just talked about, those priorities. One of them is a problem solver. I don't hesitate to ask hard questions to make sure that information is clear, not just to me so I can make a decision, but so that it's clear to everyone listening, so that it's clear to all stakeholders, my fellow board members, people who may be in the public, anyone who's watching the meeting later. I want to make sure that everyone understands what's going on, because that's how you can solve problems, right? And as once the information is clear, I work to bring all stakeholders together to collaborate. That's what I do at work. That's what I do at school board. That's what I do in life. You got to bring people together. Another thing that sort of goes along with that is I've always been curious. That sounds funny. My strength is to be curious. I'm a lifelong learner. I always want to understand the how and why of things. This translated for me as a parent to being a concerned parent. It still translates even though my kids are in college. I stay close to the education of my kids when they were, now and when they were in Great Valley, even more so. And I want to do the same for the education of all the children in our community. I deeply care, and I want to understand what's going on so that I can make it good and make it better. Finally, I would say the other strength is just sort of my general business and life experience. I'm a senior leader in a Fortune 100 company. I'm used to reviewing budgets, goals, strategies, options to achieve those strategies. I bring those skills to my school board work, right? We do everything under the sun at school board. Decide if we should change to LED light bulbs and decide if we should have a new science curriculum. I mean, it goes, maybe those things go together, but in any case, things from very mundane to critically, everything's critically important, but very mundane to things that, people would think of more as school board. So I think that the skills I have in business help me get through that. Secondly, just from the life experience, I've studied, lived, and worked in Europe. I speak 2 languages at home. I have an appreciation for people of different backgrounds and experiences. And I want to ensure that our students become productive, invested participants, not just in their local community, but in the global community, which is actually part of the Great Valley School District mission. So I think between the business experience and the life experience, and then being a problem solver, a lifelong learner, I think all of those really help me succeed as a school board member.
Collaboration and curiosity. I don't know if you can get any better than that. I really do appreciate those things, so thank you. So you have definitely talked about what your priorities are. And I do feel like I get a sense that you are thinking about everyone globally and all your constituents. But what I really want to know is if you can tell me what the top 2 or 3 issues are that are most important right now in the district that you're running in for school board.
Sure. So I've already mentioned some of my top priorities, which coincide with the key issues in the district. Things like population growth and meeting the needs of all students, especially as we have this increasingly, large and diverse population. But there's a third issue that's critical right now, that's a priority for the district. That's educating our kids and ensuring their well-being in this post-pandemic and pandemic, I don't know if we're post-pandemic, in this peri-pandemic environment. We need to make sure that our kids can continue to learn and learn in a safe way. And as a school board member, we have to be ready to pivot, to adapt. If we haven't learned anything in the past year and a half, that's what we've learned. So that to me is a priority of the district, is to stay on our toes, be ready, listen to the community, listen to what's going on, not just from an education perspective, but from a health and safety perspective. And in order to, those are my priorities, but I would just add to how do I make sure that I get to those priorities and meet the needs of the community. I'd want to make sure that in all of these things, we continue to communicate to the community. I know it's critical to keep people informed. As I said, I like to ask questions, but I also want to keep people informed in order to bring them along in the decisions we make. You're not going to please all the people all the time, but if you can bring people along and they understand, you can get a lot further. I want to make sure that we implement even more, ways for the community to make their voice heard. Sometimes we have community committees for things like redistricting. I mean, where we need to do that, maybe we will, I don't know. I would want to make sure that the community has a voice. I'm the district representative to the Council on Diversity and Inclusion, which includes community members. I want to continue to make sure that stays open to other community members. I just think there have to be more ways for us to, whether it's councils or just making the board meetings more engaging and more exciting, or finding ways for people to know what's going on so they know how to ask questions and give their opinion. I feel like that's a critical way to achieve our goals and all these priorities.
So you hit the last C, which is communication. So that's awesome.
The 3 C's, okay. Collaboration, curious, and communication.
Oh my gosh.
Love it.
It's the trifecta. Absolutely. So in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Like maybe the other languages that you speak in your household?
Yeah, sure. So my husband's French. I'm actually also French by marriage, and I went there for your junior year abroad in college and stayed. So I was there for 10 years, had one child there, one child here. So that's the other language. But even more important to the school board election is I just want people to know that school board elections today are more important now than ever. If people don't come out to vote, or if they don't pay attention to the differences between the candidates, we could end up with a disrupted board that can't get things done, that can't focus on what's important, the education of our kids. So in our region, which is Region 1 of Great Valley, voters have 2 seats to choose. There's 2 open seats. In order to ensure that civility, competence, and facts, and the other 3 C's too, remain at the center of our schools, I urge voters to choose both me and Andrea Rizzo and cast votes for the 2 qualified and committed school board candidates. So just want people to understand how important it is to vote and to make sure that they use both their votes for the best candidates.
All right. Well, I think that is a perfect way to close. Again, I appreciate you allowing me to talk to you this evening, and you have a great day.
Thanks so much, Dawn. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for taking the time.